Hi, I'm Matt with etrailer, and today we're going to talk about Yakima Roof Rack System with HD bars on top of our 2023 Cadillac XT5. Now this is going to be a great option for you if you find yourself running out of space in the back of your Cadillac, whether you have a lot of people back there, or you already have a lot of stuff in there. Taking a closer look at them, we're going to have this weather strip at the top, and that's going to help protect your T-channel. It's going to help reduce that wind noise and keep any of that debris out of there. And at the very edge, we're going to have this anchor point, so if you need to tie anything down, like a kayak, you'll be able to tie it down from this point. Now these bars are pretty thick, so if you have any clamp-on accessories, you might need an adapter to put them on here. You'll have another channel underneath, and that's just going to be where your towers go into. Now speaking of those towers, a couple things I do like about these are they're going to be really easy to take on and off. So if you just remove this end cap and slide it off, that's going to have this bar at the bottom retract, and you can easily take this on and off. And putting it back on is just as easy. You're also going to have this plastic piece, and that's going to be in place if you ever want to get a lock core. And that lock core, you can get that key to like to any of your other Yakima accessories too. The fit kit is really nice because it's going to easily grab onto these flush rails, and when you're not using your crossbars, you're going to take them right off and just put this end cap right on top to give you a cleaner look. And it's just going to attach to existing mounting points you have on your flush rails, just with 2 bolts. This roof rack's maximum capacity is going to be 165 pounds. Now the crossbars themselves are 500 pounds, but the towers are 165. So you always want to go from your lowest component. And another thing to go off of that, you want to check what your roof can handle, because you don't want to overweight that too. Now going off of what this roof can accommodate, if I measure underneath the crossbars to the top of the roof, that's going to be about 5 inches. So if you do have any clamp-on accessories you want to put on here, you're going to have plenty of space here. And to go off that, even with this sunroof being here, that's just something to keep in mind too. If this does raise, definitely keep this monitored and keep an eye on it. If I measure from the top of our rails to the top of the crossbar, that's going to be about 6 inches, which is going to stick up a little bit. Something else I'd recommend doing is taking the total height of your car, your crossbars, and any accessories you have on top of that, so you know what areas you can make it under. And going off of that, we can check what our overhang is going to be. So going from our towers to the end of the crossbar, that's going to be 10 inches. So that's something to keep in mind when you are getting in your car, because this does stick out a little bit. You could bump your head on it, but it's going to make things putting up here a lot easier. Whether you have a kayak or anything else like that that sits on the very edge, it's going to be a lot easier to grab. In addition, with that overhang, it's not going to stick out past your mirrors, so if you are worried about driving down the road and it's sticking out pretty far, you don't have to worry about that. Now since this is a fixed mounting point system, if I measure from the front of one crossbar to the front of the other one to get our crossbar spread, it's going to be about 28 inches. So that's important to note. If you have any accessories, you need to know what they can accommodate if they can fit the spread. Overall, I think this is going to be a solid choice for you if you're looking for something that's going to be pretty sturdy and it's easy to put your kayaks up there and tie them down easy. If you're looking for something that's not going to be as bulky, it's going to sit a little bit lower, and you don't need that T-track on top, I'd recommend the Yakima Crossbars. But if you liked everything else about these ones, because you do have those anchor points at the very end for your kayaks, then I think this is going to be a solid choice for you. The installation was pretty straightforward and easy to put on there, but if you need a hand with it, just stay tuned and we'll show you how to do it. Now to start off our install, we're just going to lay everything out. So we're going to have our HD crossbars in front, and over on the side, we're going to have the fit kit that'll put it on top of our roof, and along with the hardware for it. And on the other side, we're going to have our towers and our HD bar adapters. You're going to have 2 included tools, one with a built-in torque device, and another Allen key. And I recommend grabbing a measuring tape just to make things easier. So where I like to start off is with our towers, and we're just going to put this plastic piece in here, pushing down until it clicks into place. Next up, we're going to grab one of these metal blocks and line up the hole with that bolt on the bottom. What I like to do in this case is to grab our included tool, go underneath and grab that bolt, and try to line up that bolt with the hole underneath. This might take a little bit. Until you kind of feel it grab on, then you can start tightening it down. You don't want to tighten it down too much because we want to make sure there's a gap in here so it can go on top of our crossbars. Now we want to make sure that our crossbar is upside down. You can tell because it'll have this channel underneath with this bolt inside of it. You're just going to take that out just by using your included tool. And the trick I like to do for this is after when it's loosened all the way, flip over your bar. You can take your bolt out just like that. Now remove this end cap, and now you can slide your towers on. The way I like to do this is actually to slide this first one on the opposite direction. You'll see in just a second. Slide that all the way down till it's on this other side. And now we're going to take our second tower and put it on the correct way, making sure it's facing this direction. And with it on there, we can put everything back on. With our crossbar prep, we can start prepping our fit kit. I like to come over here and loosen up this bolt right in the center, because that's going to tighten down to our flush rails. And with that loosened up, we can put on the rubber adapter. That's going to go underneath and line up with these 4 holes with these 4 prongs. Now this can be a little tricky sometimes, and sometimes it'll start bending too because some of these are hollow. So what you have to do in that case, if it keeps bending on you, is just put a small tool inside this hole and push it in that way. An example of what I'm talking about right now is you can see this is bending. So what I'm going to do is use this small Allen key and push it in the center and push it the rest of the way through that hole. And with it on there all the way, you repeat that same process on your other fit kit. I'm going to come over to our flush rails now, and if you notice, we have these little tabs that are blocking the holes that install our fit kit. So what we got to do is take them out. A good way I figured out is instead of just trying to pull and pry them out, you can actually just twist these out and they'll unthread. That's going to prevent you from damaging them and destroying them. But when you got both of them out, you can set them aside so you don't lose them. And we can put on our fit kit. So when putting on your fit kit, you want to line up your bolts with this long hole and this hole that's lower and furthest on this one side, right here. And you're just going to take these bolts with the washers on them and line them up with those holes you just took the tabs out of. We're just going to hand thread them on at first, not tightening one side too much, and then going over to the other side and doing that same thing. And once these are hand tightened completely, we're just going to use that included Allen key and tighten it down the rest of the way. And now we're going to come to the top of it and tighten that top bolt down the rest of the way. And once you've done that, you repeat that same process on the other side. We're going to come back to our crossbars now and kind of adjust where our towers sit. So what I like to do is make sure they're going to be the same distance apart and roughly place them down. So I know this is going to be at the 30 mark because we have this ruler on the bottom of our crossbar, and make sure this other tower is going to be at the 30 mark too. And after that, I just like to tighten these down just slightly so they don't move too much. I still want the ability to adjust them just in case this isn't a fit. Before we put this on top of our roof, a few things we want to do is make sure that this back end cap is open, because that's going to affect how this fits on there. If you notice, we have these tabs, so when this is closed, these tabs are going to stick out. When I open the back of it, they're going to retract back in here. That's going to allow us to put it on top of the fit kit. With that adjusted, we can lift up and put it on top of our roof, just to get an idea of how this is going to fit. And as you can see, we're a little bit short on one side, so we're going to have to make some adjustments. One way to know that you've tightened this down completely is when you're turning this torque device will start to click, letting you know it's been properly torqued. Just like that. And when you place it back down, the last thing we want to tighten is going to be this bolt in here. And that's going to be the same process as the other one, just turning it until it starts to click. And once that's done, everything's been tightened, you can close up this end cap, give it a good shake test, and once you've got that done on both sides, you can give it a good shake test, make sure everything feels secure, and if it is, you can put whatever accessories you have on top of your roof. That's just a look at the installation and some of the features of the Yakima Roof Rack with HD bars on top of our 2023 Cadillac XT5.